Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. As a reminder, there is a hyperlink in the chat function that will allow you to access the program for tonight's service. The poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow once said that every heart has secret sorrows which the world knows not. Those of you joining us this evening know this truth all too well. Tonight, we take time out to honor, remember, and bear witness to those little ones who are in our arms only briefly, yet touched our hearts forever. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed October as National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, stating, "When a child loses a parent, they're called an orphan. When a spouse loses their partner, they're called a widow or widower. When parents lose their child, there isn't a word to describe them. This month recognizes the loss so many parents experience around the world. So it is that on October 15th of every year, grieving parents and families all over the world come together to support one another and share stories, tears, pain, and love. It's been said that grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It's the price of love. This evening, we gather to hold space for that grief, to be with others who understand the unique pain of the death of a child, and to be reminded that we are not alone. At 7 p.m., we will light a candle, joining others around the world in the International Wave of Light. You're welcome to join us in the Wave of Light by lighting your own candle there in your home. May the spirit of peace and love be with us now as we pause to grieve and hold space together.
Hello. I want to offer a welcome today on behalf of Wake Med Hospital and the Spiritual Care Department. Thank you for joining us for this virtual service of remembrance for pregnancy and infant loss. I want to thank those who made this event possible, our President and CEO, Donald Ginsig, our Senior Vice President, Valerie Barlow, all of the staff here at Wake Med, especially those in the NICU, in pediatric units, on labor and delivery, and those in the emergency departments. I want to thank Kristen Kelly and Marketing and Communications, Molly Williams, who created this program today, and all of those who will take part in this service. This year, I also want to make special mention of our Pediatric Bereavement Fund. This was provided by the Wake Med Foundation last year, and it allows families who have experienced pregnancy and infant loss to receive support in their deepest time of grief. As we partake in this international moment, let us remember the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "There are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you are, you will always be in my heart." Thank you, everyone, for your presence here tonight. Thank you for your support of these families, of the patients and the staff here at Wake Med. You will always be in our hearts.
Places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone and some remain. All these places have their moments with family and friends. I still can recall some are dead and some are living. In my life, I love them all. But of all the ones I love, there is no one compares with you, and these memories hold their meaning when I think of love that continues, though I know I'll never lose affection for you, my love, that went before. I know I'll always stop and think about you. In my life, I love you more. Oh, though I know I'll never lose affection for you, my love, that went before. I know I'll always stop and think about you. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
We light candles to mark moments in our lives and to mark spaces for our feelings to be held. And so, from wherever you are, here in this room, here online with us, you're invited now to have a candle in front of you. And we will light this candle together, but not just us on this program tonight. This wave of light is a global event to remind us that we are not alone. Know that at 7:00 p.m. around the entire globe, candles have been lit. So we are participating in a wave of light when we light the candle together in memory of these little ones who are with us always. Let us join in the wave of light as we light our candles tonight. These lights shine forever.
Hear now this reading, A Blessing for Falling into a New Layer of Grief by Jan Richardson. You thought you had hit every layer possible, that you had found the far limit of your sorrow, of your grief. Now the world falls from beneath your feet all over again, as if the wound were opening for the first time, only now with an ache you recognize as ancient. Here is the time for kindness, your own to yourself, as you fall and fall, as you land hard in this layer that lies deeper than you ever imagined you could go. Think of it as a secret room, this space that has opened before you, that has opened inside you, though it may look sharp in every corner and sinister no matter where you turn. Think of it as a hidden chamber in your heart where you can stay as long as you need, where you will find provision you never wanted, but on which your life will now depend. I want to tell you there is treasure even here, that the sharp lines that so match your scars will lead to solace, that this space that feels so foreign will become for you a shelter. So let yourself fall. It will not be the last time, but do not let this be cause for fear. These are the rooms around which your new home will grow, the home of your heart, the home of your life that welcomes you with such completeness, opening and opening and opening itself to you. No part of you is turned away.
Tonight, we gather in remembrance of the many tiny lives that have graced our hearts and our presence. We recognize the unexpected journey of loss in those joining us tonight, here in person and virtually, may present in a variety of ways, whether that be infertility, ectopic or chemical pregnancies, miscarriage, stillbirth, or infant loss. Whether this is personally or as a parent, grandparent, family member, or friend, or if you're a member of the healthcare team who is joining us to honor these families that we have cared for. We honor each of you and your connection to pregnancy and infant loss. We honor your strength and your grace to continue on even when it feels heavy. Even when you may not feel it, we are honored to witness it. We thank you for allowing us to be a tiny piece of your story in sharing sacred space and time, allowing us to be present for you, holding your hand, walking you through the process, and creating as many memories as possible. Ecclesiastes 3 states there's a time for everything, a time to weep, a time to mourn, a time to embrace, a time to mend, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, and a time to love. In this time, we honor the memory of your little ones as we have lit a candle in their memory and we continue to speak their names aloud. May we always remember there is no footprint too small that cannot leave an impact on this world.
My name is Elena Cosmo, and I am a mama of 3. My first baby should be 8 years old, but she was an ectopic rupture where I almost lost my life. The hardest part of that process, though, was losing our first baby. I was then diagnosed with premature ovarian failure, which then led my husband and I down the road of infertility for 3 years. My second baby is 5 years old and here tonight. He was born at 28 weeks due to severe preeclampsia. 70 days in the NICU was hard, and I used to tell people the worst day of my life was the day that I was discharged from the hospital, but my son had to stay in the NICU. Turns out I was wrong, and things could be way, way worse. So I am here today to talk about my third baby, my sweet little daughter, Giabella Love Cosmo. You see, it took me 4 years to gain enough courage from my NICU PTSD, but when I was ready, I was all in. As we started the frozen embryo transfer process, our excitement grew with each step forward. This August of 2022, our dreams started coming true. I was pregnant at the transfer work, and Gino would have a sibling. But we didn't tell anyone. Instead, we started planning our big Christmas surprise pregnancy reveal. Until December 1st, when my world started to change. It was a girl, a baby girl. The anatomy scan seemed normal, but the doctor was taking forever to come in, and I had the worst headache. Well, that doctor I had never met before, she came in and crushed our dreams in an instant. My little girl was too little. She was severely growth restricted. Her blood flow in the cord was absent, and my blood pressure was severely high. In an instant, I went, sorry, I can't read. I went from dreaming of buying all the cute pink baby clothes to crying all night in fear in the hospital. The weeks to follow were very difficult at the time, full of many doctors' appointments and scans, more hospital stays, EMS coming to my home, and many, many tears. Now I look back at those fear-filled days and cherish them because at least Giabella was still in my belly, alive. 291 days ago. It was on December 29th, 2022 at 11:20 that our daughter Giabella was stillborn due to severe preeclampsia again. She did not cry. She did not breathe. But we still held her all night. We still kissed her. But then we had to say goodbye. And then call a funeral home. And then leave the hospital without my baby. But this time, forever. That was the worst day of my life. It is not fair for any parent to have to endure the loss of their child. With the help of therapy, countless support groups like Parent Care, connecting with lost moms, my amazing team of doctors, a few friends and family, and mainly my husband and son, I have survived. Giabella is still with me. I look for her signs every day. I love when she shines through to us. We speak her name, and it is beautiful to hear. When I look at the sky, I like to imagine her dancing. Today, she is dancing with her big sis, her buddy Lincoln, and all of your babies too, dancing in the candlelight. Music has helped me connect with Giabella. So today, I leave you with a verse from a recent song I found called Children of the Sky by Imagine Dragons. When we look back, what we will see, we were a part of everything. Up in the heavens, down in the seas, we were a part of everything. We're children of the sky, flying up so high, stars amongst the night. Thank you.
Elena, I'd like to thank you and your family for your bravery for sharing Giabella's story. My husband and I'm Shalika Bethel. This is my husband, Adrian Bethel. We're also 8 years into the journey. We have 4 wonderful children, 2 angel sons, Amari Bethel and Aiden Bethel, and our twin daughters on Earthside, Tahila and Tanaya Bethel. We actually started around this time 8 years ago. We found out we were pregnant with Amari. And we were early in pregnancy, early in pregnancy, early in marriage. So we were just excited about all of the things. Had no awareness of what could possibly be. We only saw labor and delivery at the end. Unfortunately, around 14 weeks pregnant, after being told, pregnancy's textbook, everything's looking good. Amari measured a little small, but no concern from the doctor. I started to feel just, for lack of better words, I felt weird. Didn't know what this was, didn't know if this was a new pregnancy thing. I work in IT and we had some work that needed to go on that night. And so I told my coworkers that I was just going to go home, I was going to rest, and then I'd log on later. My husband was heading to work. He worked fairly close, and he'd given me a Carolina Panthers lanyard and my favorite candy, and he told me to get some rest. And so I did. But when I woke from my rest, I realized that things were not going well. I thought that maybe I just had a lot of discharge. Still, I'm glass half full person, so I'm not thinking anything in the direction of this baby's not going to be here. I go to the restroom. I noticed a sound that I wasn't familiar with, and so I began chatting with my pastor and some people from church. Frantically called my husband like something's not right, but he couldn't get to the phone, and so I continued chatting with them. They advised me to alert the EMS people, call 911, and so I did. And on their way there, I actually had my first baby at home. Still not connecting to what had happened, and even after the EMS confirmed it, I still couldn't wrap my mind around not making it to labor and delivery day, that my story would be much different. And so we went through the process of, completing that pregnancy and all the things medically that had to happen with that. We went to Wake Med Carry emergency. They took care of us. Our OB at the time let us know what was happening. And so immediately my mind went to, what are next steps? What has happened? How can we keep this from happening again? If you've been in this journey and you've had the unfortunate chance to go through pregnancy and not know anything, that was our story. We found out that our son was a son, and we named him Amari, and Amari means strength. From that day to this one, that's the strongest I felt in my life. Fast forward, this was end of October 2015. Fast forward to beginning of 2016. My husband and I found the courage to try again. We found out 2 weeks before Amari's due date that we were pregnant. And in our planning of a service for Amari, we decided to share with the people in the room that day that we were 5 weeks pregnant. And excited, fearful, frantic, all of the things you can imagine being pregnant a second time after having a loss. That's what I was. And I know I drove my husband crazy during that time, but we kept it pretty low key. went to all the visits, had a new OB that was really willing to check out everything, and they were very communicative, and we loved that. But unfortunately, when we got to what we believed was our 16th week, and I'll tell you why it was what we believed. Everything measured well with Aiden, but my cervix was shorter. And I Googled the length of my cervix, and I started to worry, but I decided, you've been a worrywart for all of these weeks. Let's not continue to worry. 2 days later, I would go to the emergency room because I felt that weird feeling again. It was a different weird feeling, but weird nonetheless, and a lot of pressure. At this time, we lived in Briar Creek, and so we just ran over to the emergency room down the street. They were familiar with me because I tend to go whenever something's not right. And so checked out Amari. Amari is just having a good old time in the womb. And then she says, the doctor says, let me check your cervix. And then she was concerned because she couldn't see my cervix. And so the next plan of action was to send me to this hospital on Wake Med main campus with the hopes that maybe an emergency cerclage would be able to be performed and that we would continue on to a healthy baby. When we got here, unfortunately, that is not what we were able to do. We were told that sorry, I hadn't felt that in a while. We were told that we would have to deliver our baby. And he was actually 17 weeks because he was bigger. And so after praying and consulting with family and consulting with one another, we decided to allow them to induce us. And at 11:20 p.m., July 16th, 2016, we delivered our baby boy, Aiden Bethel. Graciously, after everything was done to complete the pregnancy, and I had to stay a few days, Wake Med allowed us to keep our son with us the entire 3 days. And I got to hold him, and I got to tell him that I was sorry. And family members got to see him, and he became real. He was always real to me, but he became real to others because there was a physical baby that unfortunately didn't get to experience the rest of what his life could have been. Because I had so little data, I'm a data person, of our first son, I was obsessed with everything. Give me all the pictures, footprints, handprints, molds, everything. We have them to this day. I have my son's footprints on my arm, and I look at them daily as a reminder that he was here. But I just was obsessed with making sure that he and his brother would not be forgotten. Afterwards, it took us, I would say, about 4 years to be brave and try again. And we battled with infertility as well for years. I was told that I had a diminishing ovarian syndrome. So at my age, I wasn't quite at I hate the word, but the geriatric age for pregnancy, but I was almost there. And I didn't produce as many eggs as women my age. And so after a couple of rounds of fertility with different doctors, we became pregnant with our angels. I'll let my husband share the rest. Their journey was not without challenges either. 11 weeks into it, I had surgery to keep my cervix closed because that is why I lost my first sons, my first babies. And so we live with these pieces in our hearts of our sons, and we carry them with us every day. And the strength from Amari and the fire from Aiden, because his name means little fiery one. I used to every day to give my best to my daughters, my husband, and my kids. Without a doubt, give me something to breathe for every day. And if you've been in this journey, you know how hard it is to breathe. So I'm going to stop talking and let my husband share where we are. But
just piggybacking off my wife, and I'm just doing this off the fly. I'm just gonna pick back up on where we where we became pregnant with a lovely lady. They call these babies rainbow babies, and that can be short of the truth because between Amari and Aiden, it was a storm. It was dark. There were dark times, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It was a challenge to say the least. But when we became pregnant with the girls, that's when that rainbow started to come. And the challenge that we faced, a lot of stuff ultimately came with the territory because we was on pins and needles alert. I was telling a couple of people that I didn't get no sleep since April 21st, 2021. But truthfully, I don't think I had a good night's rest since August when we found out that we conceived. So yeah, definitely challenges to say the least, but nonetheless, it's still worth it. We did fast forward. We did healing tonight. They came, and I remember when that day I was getting ready to go to work, like it was yesterday. I'm thinking that when you get ready to go in and you and Shalik was just having a conversation, you say, you know what, I wouldn't mind if they came sometime this week. No more than 30 minutes later, I'm not feeling no. I think I'm contracting. I think we need to go. I'm thinking that this is just another typical doctor visit that they're going to send us home. Call my job and say, hey, I gotta go to the doctor. We'll be in after. But turns out that their birth was going to be my call out slip. They told us that they was going we was going to have to deliver. I bring it up to say that it still was a shocker because they told us the rundown and everything that needed to happen. But then they told us, congratulations. And it the last two times, I mean, this is totally new to me because the last couple times I've been at the hospital, I didn't get a chance to get that congratulations. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I well received it, but it just hit different. So, of course, they came and at being at 34 weeks, they had to spend a little bit of time in the NICU. And being that I was the one that was able to go down and check on them at the time, from the time I'll take that back. From the time they came out the womb, it was already set in stone that I'm gonna already give them my best, but there's a little bit more that they get to get because Amari and Aiden, they'll never be forgotten. I don't always do the best job of remembering the days and the events and whatnot. And I apologize for being one-dimensional. But trust and believe, I do always remember because the healing tonight is being embraced with Amari and Aiden. It's couldn't expect less because I'm gonna always be the best dad to them, regardless. But I'm being the best dad for them for 4 kids. So that's our journey. Thank you all for having us, and
Thank you.
thank you all for hearing our story.
Good evening, friends. My name is Victoria, and I am a chaplain resident with the Spiritual Care Department. And it is an honor to be sharing space with you all as we pause to acknowledge and hold in our hearts the babies that have left this world and to be with the families that are navigating this path. As a chaplain resident, I have the immense honor of serving the fourth floor. So in labor and delivery, I support birthing parents and their families in the children's hospital. I support sick children and their grown-ups wherever they are in their healing journey. In the NICU, I support families and babies as they are growing and getting ready to go home. But there's a portion of my service that is really, really hard to put into words. I also support birthing parents and their families as they face the loss of a baby. And so today I'd like to share a piece that I wrote entitled, "What Do You Say?" What do you say when words seem inadequate? When the pain is radiating off the walls? What do you say when words seem inappropriate? When a dream lay lying still beside your bed? What do you say when words seem inarticulate? When tears are more prevalent and hope seems impossible? What do you say? What can you say? And this piece really captures my sentiments as I've walked with families through the loss of their babies. I enter rooms where tears are flowing and pain is an overwhelming presence in the room. And I've often wrestled with what to say and how to fill the space. But I've realized that sometimes the pain is enough. Sometimes there are no words. Sometimes words don't bring comfort. And so I've learned to let the silence fill the room. I've learned that sometimes presence is enough. But I'm also realizing that pain isn't the only thing in the room. With these families, there is love, community is there, support is there, joy is there. The pain is not the only thing that shares space with these families. Pain does not get to have the final say. Grief does not get to have the final say. Hope does not get to have the final say. Joy doesn't get to have the final say. All of these things come together to make up the full story. There isn't just one thing that holds all of the space. I have the chance to walk with families as they face the unimaginable. And I don't take the load from them, but I help them carry it for just a little while. I have the task of helping to bear the burden so the ones deep in the suffering can rest and breathe, even if it's only for a few moments. I can't make the pain go away, but I can put a little bit of healing ointment on and help bandage the bleeding hearts. The fourth floor is a really special place. It is full of really special people. Families are formed and changed on the fourth floor, and I'm grateful that I get to play a small part in the story of all the families that I encounter.
A Blessing for You Who Lost Too Much Too Quickly by Kate Bowler. Blessed are you sitting among the shards of what could have been. It's broken now, that dream you loved, and it's spilled all over the ground. Blessed are you letting your eyes look and remember all the hope you once had, all the love, all the beauty, all the future selves you could have been. Blessed are you telling your tears they can flow, telling your anger it can speak, letting this loss speak all its terrible truth to your soul. Blessed are you when mourning is the holy work of the moment, for it speaks of what is real. Blessed are we who mourn, saying, Let me stay here in grief's cold winter for as long as it takes. That morning might be, to our hearts, the gentlest springtime. Let the thaw come slowly as we learn to live here in what is possible today.
Our closing tribute tonight will be a responsive reading. For those of you that are present in this room, if you turn your program over, you will see the reading. It is entitled, We Remember Them. In the rising of the sun and its going down, in the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, in the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, in the blueness of the skies and the warmth of the summer, in the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, in the beginning of the year and when it ends, when we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick of heart, when we have joys and special celebrations we yearn to share. So as long as we live, they too shall live, for they are a part of us. This is from the Jewish Book of Prayer. This concludes our service tonight in the day of remembrance for our special precious babies. May peace be in our hearts today and from every day on. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here.